Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Direct Batman The Adventures Continue Red Hood. Not only that, but this is the Platinum Chase variant. I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Kevin from Instagram for hooking me up with this. Apparently, if you order cases of these at Entertainment Earth, you get 2 Platinum Red Hoods, 2 Platinum Shazams, and 2 regular Superman figures, which is a really odd case assortment, but worked out in my favor big time. Believe it or not, I am now fully caught up on McFarlane Platinum Chase variants. I am very happy to say that, although I am still looking for one more Red Hood for my unopened collection. This is a pretty odd release, as it's not part of the Multiverse line, and all the page pushers so far have been Multiverse figures. This guy's a completely different style and scale, part of the DC Direct 6-inch animated stuff. It's based off the comic continuation of the animated series, so let's take a look at the packaging. It's in a clear clamshell. The top, DC, McFarlane Toys, ages 17 plus, and it's interesting they say 17 plus because this guy comes with guns, a pistol, and a rocket launcher, and DC figures cannot come with guns, so somehow there's a connection between labeling it as 17 plus and giving it guns. It includes a comic book, McFarlane Platinum Edition, DC Direct, Red Hood. Here he is in the package. Looks like we have 8 hands, 2 heads, batarang, pistol, rocket launcher, display stand, collector's card, and a comic. Pretty blank on the 2 sides. At the back, here is the comic, Batman The Adventures Continue, number 5. And at the bottom, there is his barcode, but it is going to be the same as the regular version. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Here's a look at the regular Page Puncher Red Hood figure. And then here's a look at the older DC Direct version of this Red Hood, which came out, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And once again, huge shout out to my boy Kevin. It is much appreciated. He hooked me up with the 2 Platinums from the newest wave and the last Platinums that I needed. And just to point out, Shazam says ages 12 plus, Red Hood 17 plus, and somehow that's a factor into them coming with guns or not. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. He comes with quite a bit of cool stuff. We have Batman The Adventures Continue number 5 comic. We have a collector's card, display stand, a total of 8 interchangeable hands, 2 interchangeable heads, a rocket launcher, a pistol, and a batarang. Before I load all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Red Hood, Jason Todd. It's from Batman The Adventures Continue, which is a comic continuation of Batman the Animated Series. Now in Batman the Animated Series, they completely skipped over Jason Todd. We had Dick Grayson as Robin for seasons 1, 2, 3, and then it sort of jumped ahead, and we had Tim Drake as Robin for season 4. I guess Jason Todd was Robin and died in between seasons off screen, or at least that's what the comic will lead you to believe. And this is the Platinum Chase variant. He has a different color outfit, black leather jacket, gray pants compared to the regular version. I think it's a really cool Platinum Chase variant. I like the color scheme on Jason Todd. So let's take a look. Starting with his head here, he's got the red helmet. Eyes are white, surrounded by black. He's got some black lines going up and down the sides of the helmet, and you can see where his ears would be. Gray shirt underneath, black leather jacket, this sort of man purse thing, which is actually a holster for his pistol. He has single jointed elbow, single jointed knees. There is cell shading on this figure, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's kind of minimal. He's got the Batman ally symbol on the back of his jacket. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt, which looks pretty good. Traditional Red Hood helmet. Done in kind of the animated style, but it just looks like the regular Red Hood head. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. Here's his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Batman from Batman the Animated Series. It says Red Hood at the bottom. Kind of odd that it shows Batman and doesn't show Red Hood. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. Here's his display stand. It comes in 3 separate pieces. When put together, it looks like this. The base is sort of a square. I'm surprised it doesn't say Batman The Adventures Continue on it. Then it has this post that leads up to this clamp to hold your figure. Now to take a look at the comic. This is a reprint of Batman The Adventures Continue number 5. You have the entire Bat family on the front. Red Hood, Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, Batman, Joker, Laughing Fish, it's all there. Look inside. Batman the Animated Series, the new Batman Adventures, or a Tim-verse look. Looks like we're having some flashbacks. That must be Jason Todd, I would assume. And looks like Red Hood makes his appearance. Looks like it's a similar sort of story as Batman Under the Red Hood. I like the look. It's pretty nice. So here's the McFarlane reprint of this comic. And here's the original issue. This is the first print. I don't remember what happened, but mine seems to have some water damage to it. Batman Adventures Continue number 5. And then there's the cover variant of Batman The Adventures Continue number 5 as well. Now let's look at his hands. He has a total of 8 of them. 4 left hands and 4 right hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And here's his second pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands with trigger figures for the guns. And here's his third pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands. And here's his last pair of hands. This is a pair of open hands with the fingers completely extended. Now let's look at his heads. He has 2 of them. 1 with the Red Hood biker helmet, and 2 is the unmasked Jason Todd head. Here's a look at his first head. This one has the red helmet. And here's his second head. This one has the unmasked Jason Todd head. Looks like he has a little scar on his right cheek and a streak of gray growing through his hair. I've seen Jason Todd depicted this way in numerous different forms of media. Whenever a company released a figure that includes an unmasked head, a lot of time I'll try to make the unmasked civilian version of that character, and here's my attempt at a civilian Jason Todd. A little bit taller than the DC Direct figure, but closer to the 6-inch scale that I'm familiar with. I use the body of a Hasbro Marvel Legends Spider-Man the Animated Series Peter Parker figure. Thought it worked pretty good. Here's Red Hood's Batarang. It's a red Batarang, which is perfect to give to a Robin type character. Good for Red Hood as well, but he mostly uses guns. It's made of hard plastic. Here's a look at Red Hood holding and getting ready to throw that Batarang. And for his guns, he has a rocket launcher and a pistol. The rocket launcher is done in a black color scheme with a red tip, and then gray in the back. And the pistol, small, basic, decent sculpt, totally black paint job. Here's a look at Red Hood holding that rocket launcher. This is about the best you're going to get with his articulation scheme. Looks okay from the side, but you'll never have him holding both handles at the same time. Here's a look at the Red Hood holding that pistol, pointing it right at you. And then here he is, holstering that pistol. Now to check out the differences between this Platinum Chase version of Red Hood and the original standard release. So, start with their helmets. They look pretty much the same. The main difference is going to be the jacket here is done in a couple different colors of brown, and here it's a black leather jacket. Shirt underneath is black here, gray here. Pants, black in the original, gray in the new one. Boots are the same kind of cell shading. Gloves, gray versus black. And the little holster is brown versus gray. Bat symbol looks pretty similar on the back. I think it's a pretty cool variant. I like the color scheme on both of them quite a bit. And then here's a look at all 3 versions of this Red Hood. The original DC Direct version, the Platinum Chase version, and the McFarlane Page Puncher version. They all have a little bit of a different paint and color scheme, and I appreciate that. It's like having 3 different figures. Although I've considered doing one with the unmasked head, the fact that all 3 look significantly different is enough for me. And here's another option for all 3 of these figures. One with the unmasked head, the helmet under his arm, and then the platinum and regular versions with their masks on, giving you 3 completely different versions of Jason Todd of the Red Hood. Now they've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Let's check out his height. And that is my biggest complaint about this guy. He is just so damn small. For a 6-inch scale figure, you would think he would be at least 6 inches tall. From bottom to the top of his head, it's standing about 5.8 inches tall, which can translate to under 15 centimeters. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course, he can rotate side to side. He can look up and down, really not at all. Simple rotation. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out about 90 degrees. Up, down, around. When you go up, he has to kind of stretch his arm outward because of the sort of shoulder pad type thing there. He has a single jointed elbow, goes in about 90 degrees with rotation. His wrists can rotate, and they're hinged as well. Torso is one solid piece. Got traditional waist swivel. Actually, yeah, traditional waist swivel. Legs, does splits, ball joints inside of there. He can rotate slightly, then go forward. Really not very much, about that far. Back not at all. Single jointed knee, once again with a rotation, and his ankle, forward and back. Rotate, tilt, rock. Here's a look at Red Hood in front of his motorcycle in the streets of Gotham City. Here he is, aiming his rocket launcher off a rooftop in Gotham. And here he is, riding his motorcycle down the streets of Gotham. Here he is, on my Red Hood shelf, in his armory, getting geared up and ready to go. And then, here's a more of a modern Batman and family. Now let's check him out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Red Hood figures. Here's his platinum version of the Red Hood, next to the standard release. And here he is, next to the original DC Direct Red Hood release from about 5 years ago. One thing I do want to point out is how badly they butchered the wrists. On the original version, you can see his jacket, and then we have the sort of sleeve to the jacket, a little bit of flesh colored, then the gloves. On the newer one, they literally just painted the sleeve all the way through the flesh and the glove one color, and it looks really, really weird and dumb. How can you mess that up when you have the original figure sitting right in front of you? And of course, they did the same thing with the regular version. It just looks bad, especially when you have the original one to just copy right in front of you. Here's this Red Hood figure, next to all the McFarlane DC Multiverse Red Hoods they've made so far. You can see a pretty significant scale difference here. And here he is, next to all my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Jason Todd figures. Then, next to an Extreme Toys Red Hood figure. Next, with the neat Reveltech Amazing Yamaguchi Red Hood. Next, with a couple of Mattel Red Hood figures. And now, with the Mafex Jason Todd figure. Here he is, next to a custom Red Hood figure I had before any of the companies were giving us Red Hood figures. And here, next to a couple of Jason Todd and Civilian Tire customs I put together. The one on the left is 7-inch scale, the one on the right, 6-inch scale. Here he is, next to several different Arkham Knight figures. In the video game, Arkham Knight turned out to be Jason Todd the entire time. But in my action figure world, I prefer to use Arkham Knight as a completely different character, like they do in the comics. Next, with a bunch of Joker as Red Hood figures. This is the Joker when he was posed up as Red Hood, had that one bad day in Ace Chemicals, and then became the Joker. The Joker eventually killed Jason Todd. When Jason Todd was resurrected, brought back to life, he took on the identity of Red Hood to sort of mock the Joker. And finally, here he is, next to the Red Hood gang. We have the leader with the tall dome, and a bunch of Red Hood gang members around him. Now let's check him out, next to some other DC Direct Batman the Animated Series figures. Here he is, next to the Batman the Animated Series Bat Family, Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. Then, with the new Batman Adventures Bat Family, Nightwing, Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. And now, with some Batman figures from Batman the Adventures Continue. These are a bunch of Batman figures and characters that were never in Batman the Animated Series or the new Batman Adventures, but were featured in the comic spin-off, Batman the Adventures Continue. And there were some other figures that DC Direct revealed at one point, but never actually released, and I hope they come to see the light of day. That would be Thomas Wayne Batman, Vampire Batman, and Talon. Talon is one I hope they release the most out of all those. And I think it's a sure thing, it's just a question of when. Here's the Red Hood, next to the most recent wave of Batman the Animated Series figures. Christmas Joker, Lightning Strike Batman, Two-Face, Batgirl, Collector Build Maxi Zeus. Then, next to the most recent, the new Batman Adventures wave. This is Wave 4, Blue and Gray Batman, Scarecrow, and the Riddler. And now, with McFarlane's most recent Batman Beyond offerings, a couple versions of the Terry McGinnis Batman, Old Man Bruce Wayne, and Ace the Bat Hound. Here's a look at all the Batman villains, Batman the Animated Series style. These are done with DC Direct. Going to add Condiment King to this mix. And here's a look at all the different animated villains. The new Batman Adventure style. Different style, same universe. They all look fantastic next to each other. And then here are all the different Platinum Chase variants from McFarlane's DC Direct, Batman the Animated Series line. It seems like they're kind of slowing down with the Platinum Chase variants. The last couple waves of Batman the Animated Series and the new Batman Adventures have not had a Platinum in it. But they still seem to be cranking them out. Both versions of the Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond and Red Hood were sort of scattered in with multiverse figures. And since this Cyborg Superman is a Platinum Chase variant, I wanted to take a look at all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Platinum Chase variants out there. Here are all the sort of older Platinum Chase variants. Gold, bronze, unpainted, and then some newer versions. And here are the more recent McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. I believe all of these in front of you came out in the 2024 calendar year. I'm fully caught up with all the Platinums I want, except one more Red Hood for my unopened collection. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a DC Direct animated figure, they're typically the 6-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of these smaller action figure lines I collect, and work way larger. Here he is, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures, and some SH Figure Arts action figures. And now, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends and Mafex figures. Here's Red Hood, next to a Toyota car emblem. And here he is, with both some Mattel and Mezco DC figures. Then, with both some Jazzwares and Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some NECA and DC Direct figures. Next, with some Diamond Select toys and Jack-specific wrestling figures. And finally, with some McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. So overall, it's a pretty cool Red Hood figure. I really like the black and gray color scheme. I think it looks pretty nice. Although I think I prefer the more traditional color scheme, but they both look equally as impressive and pleasing. This guy has a ton of accessories, even the guns, which is really cool to see. His articulation is a little bit on the limited side. My biggest problem with him is his height. He's just so damn small. He's even smaller than the smallest stuff I collect, which I guess makes this guy the smallest sort of stuff I collect. If I were to rate this guy, I'd probably give him a 6 out of 10, and I think it's the same rating that I gave the regular version. I like them pretty much equally, but at the same time, there are things I don't like about them equally as well. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.